the sound. Oh, that's the GH4. Canon. Cool. Alright, set. Okay. I'm probably gonna look. Yeah, I'll probably try and look that way so I don't distract you. Maybe I should sit over here and then I think that's roughly the way you want to be looking.
So where do you want me to look?
Over here, I think. Let me just check that. Can you look towards my hand here? And then, yeah, oh, actually, maybe better here. Cool. Alright, so you're saying had a long life?
Yes. I've had a very busy life and very happy one, and 2 wonderful husbands and great children and grandchildren. I'm very fortunate because I can still hear, see and use my brain, but the rest of me is a bit of a mess.
Cool.
But I think you want to live, and so I'm only too grateful that I'm able to live at the standard I want to be at. And I'm surrounded by great friends and relatives, and everyone's very kind to me. So, but I like reading a lot and doing crosswords and play bridge and 500.
That's why everyone says you're really active, right? You keep your mind really active, that's what everyone says.
Yes, yeah. And I think that's important. You know, I mean, you reach this sort of age and you think, you don't know when death is coming, and could be very soon.
Yeah.
But I don't think about that at all. I just take each day as it comes and enjoy it while I've got the chance.
Cool. What about, whereabouts were you born? Was it in London?
I was born in Wimbledon, in Surrey, in South London. And then my parents moved to a new estate when I was 5. We moved to Mitcham in Surrey, which was very rural then. But you go there now and you wouldn't think there'd been any trees around anywhere. We had a brand new house with a big garden, and at the foot of the garden there were fields of cows and oak trees and a little stream running through the garden. So I had a very happy childhood. And my grandmother, I only knew one grandparent, and my grandmother came and lived with us. And she was a big influence on my life. She loved music and literature and introduced me to all sorts of literature, and she played the piano wonderfully well.
Yeah.
And we had a gramophone. All my family loved music.
Cool.
And,
was that your mum's dad or your dad's dad? Oh, sorry, mum's mum?
My mother's mother.
Okay, cool.
Yes. Well, my dad was the 13th child of his family.
Wow.
And both my grandparents on that side had died. My grandmother was 31 when her husband died, and she had a stepson and 4 children of her own, and she had to try and bring them up on her own, which was pretty tough.
Okay.
And she had been brought up in quite a wealthy family, and she never worked or anything, and she went to a dame school. She learned French and embroidery, music, literature. She's hopeless at maths.
Yeah. So how did she end up there? Was that before or after her husband died?
Oh, her husband died and when my mother was 18 months old,
Okay.
and so she'd had a pretty tough life. And but she was a big influence on me.
Cool.
My parents were very loving, and I think my dad hit me once,
Okay.
but I could still feel the hit on my arm and years later.
What? Just because it was.
My older sister died when she was 5, 2 years before I was born.
Okay.
And then I was an only child till I was 7, before my younger sister was
Okay.
born. So I was like an only child, really. And I went to a private girls' school,
Okay.
and my father paid for all my education. And then I went to a grammar school when I was older, and we used to have to walk right across a common to school every day.
Yeah, okay,
and
like a
back
big
again.
field.
I was all so fit though, never got a cold.
What happened to your younger sister? Is she still in England?
No,
or
she died in 2003,
Okay.
Mavis.
Oh yeah. I might have met her when I was
think
really
you
young.
did, yes.
Or yeah. Sounds really
Yes.
familiar.
Yes, so when I came to New Zealand, she said, I can't believe that you'd leave this beautiful country. And she said, every Christmas I'll send you a beautiful Britain calendar, which she did. And then after she's died, her husband's carried on
Oh really?
the tradition, which was good, yes.
Cool.
But, yes, so...
What was it like when you were at school, your primary school?
Oh yes, it was a very small school, and I did quite well there. I always liked the written word, always liked reading, and I took a scholarship when I was 11, and I passed it, but because my father earned too much money, they had a means test then. To go to the grammar school, he paid for me to go.
Okay.
So
What did your father do?
he was a master printer, and he worked for one of the big newspaper companies in London.
Okay. Cool. What does it mean?
He was very tough on spelling,
Okay.
and he hated to get a letter with a spelling mistake. So I've always been able to spell all right.
Cool. I'm good at spelling as well. What does it mean to be a master printer?
Oh, well, he had to do a 7-year apprenticeship, and
Okay.
and then he was in the First World War. He was in the Royal Flying Corps. He didn't fly, but he was on the ground crew. So, and then after the war, they made it into the RAF, the Royal Air Force.
Okay. RFC, Royal Flying Crew.
Mm.
Okay. So that's different. Is that like flying around civilians or?
Well, they had, these little biplanes and things, and they had barrage balloons up, and he was part of the ground crew.
Okay, cool. And the master printer thing, is it like the mechanical side of things or?
Yeah, he was liner type operator,
Okay, cool.
which was a huge machine, and printed out all the, then in metal. They print all the letters in metal
Okay.
and run it off.
So they have ink on metal and then okay.
He would have loved a computer.
Yeah. But he probably never even knew about them?
But he worked until he was 74.
Okay.
Hey Rosalie.
Hello.
Hey there.
This just got a cup of tea for you.
Oh, bless you.
Did you
This
want
is
anything?
Alex.
No, I'm fine,
alright.
thanks.
It's my grandson, Alex.
Cool. Alright, I'll see you later.
Yes, I'm going to Burnley.
Oh, you are?
Mm.
Alright, thank you.
What's Burnest?
That's our dining room.
Oh, okay, cool. Cool. And what about your mum? Did she stay at home or?
Yes, yes. But during the war, she was called up because everyone had to work in Britain.
Okay. Is that World War One or World War Two?
World War Two.
Okay.
Yes.
So what kind of things did she have to do?
Well, when she was a young girl, she worked in a draper's shop, and that was quite interesting because those days they worked from early in the morning till midnight every day in the draper's shop,
Why is that?
and they lived in the place, you know. So, and I think she earned 22 shillings a week or something.
Okay. Is that very much or not really?
Well, I suppose it wasn't too bad then.
Back then, yeah.
They got all their meals and things. But during the war, she worked at Liberty's in London, the big textile place.
Okay. Liberty, so yeah, my knowledge is severely lacking